I just seen a long video on Secretary Clinton on internet rights and wrongs, choices and challenges in a networked world. Um, she's got this society group. She's civil society thing she's also been talking about. So some of the things she's saying is so much a contradiction, and um, it could stir up so much anger if you see any of her speeches, because it's like she says one thing but actually does another, and yet says that the proof is going to be in our actions. So in dealing with the bullshit that I went through in my life, every time I seen where people were intentionally evil and just wanted to do a lot of harm to my life, it got me nowhere. Um, I couldn't do a thing about it. But as soon as I looked at, okay, what would cause a person to behave the way they do? Um, we're all screwing up. None of us have the answers. And I am more productive if I'm not angry, because if I'm not angry, then I can access better information. So if I look at this Hillary Clinton video from an angry perspective of, God, she's such a killer, and she contradicts her words so much. If I look at her as that is her full potential, and then I ask myself, okay, what do you do about this when you see people like this in the world? I will always be led down the wrong direction. It'll just be me bashing somebody else, which nobody else will listen to other than get on the bandwagon of saying the same negative shit all the time, and never talking about the solution. And it's like we're all sort of ready for the solutions, but we don't know how to jump into it. We're so busy sitting there criticizing all of the time because you're angry, and you're like, without you knowing it, you're asking yourself, okay, how do I react to this? And subconsciously you react with the anger because that's how you're looking at it. But if you look at it as, okay, we're all screwing up, um, then all we have to do is sort of analyze some things from, okay, I understand you're just screwing up and you don't know what you're doing, so what should I do about this? So I thought, in looking at this, Hillary Clinton is like challenging us. She's saying, this is what I think is right, and we should all do what's right, and proof is in the pudding. So I would like to challenge her on her own words, and my bird, challenge her on her words and see if that proof is actually in the pudding. And one of the biggest ways that she's so wrong and can't see it is because she is a lawyer, and she's going to say the rule of law is what we should listen to. And it's like, yeah, if you're going to write the laws, then it's always going to be biased towards you are always right, and you've got this great education that's telling you you're right, but look at the world. Um, Something's a little off with your belief systems in how you create laws in the first place. So rule of law is something that we should maybe change in our societies. That's the first thing you got to do. So I don't think a lawyer's going to quite analyze themselves to see where they've been going wrong all the time. Um, Farmers have lost their farms because lawyers spent all of their money, all of their energy working for a corporate world that would have endless amounts of money to fund a court case to the point where they lose everything they've got, that you can't even fight that corporate world, that corporate structure. So being a lawyer, you can't really see that law is all about how do you beat the law. That's what a lawyer is about, is you get charged with something, it's how do you beat that. And it's the one that is the most genius way of beating the law is the one that always wins. So naturally, the law designers right now would be the best criminals that know how to beat the law, and then get those law judges in the right place so that everything you think is right is actually dead wrong and you can't see it. And one of the first rules of law that I live by, which I think if we all sort of understood a different kind of law system, is we should follow our own advice. If you're caught not following your own advice, then you shouldn't be in power, and you shouldn't be giving anybody else any advice. You know, you shouldn't be a person that should be listened to. You should be a person that shouldn't be trusted. You should be a person with zero power, and that should fall on the responsibility of everybody listening to you. As long as you want to talk and think that you're right, that should be totally acceptable. You should be allowed to think you're 100% right, but all of society should, you know, smack themselves up the head and say, why am I listening to this woman if she doesn't even follow her own advice? So I think that if we take Hillary Clinton up on her challenge, and she wants open conversation on the internet. She wants that freedom to communicate and design a network system where it functions effectively so everybody wins. I challenge her on a lot of things that she thinks should be censored, though. She's saying there should be a lot of censorship, and so she wants to talk with the best of the best in the corporate world that only is interested in their own personal CEO profits to design that perfect system. So they're going to be biased in how they're going to control the internet and how we communicate. She is challenging us all, though, that if you protest and protest now, there will be no violence. I think you should take her up on that opportunity. As soon as she's saying that in any country, she's encouraging governments not to use violence against peaceful protesters. So Hillary Clinton is saying right now that if any American started to protest right now, there would be no violence. I hear there's some teachers protesting right now. I haven't heard or looked at any of those videos. I'll check it out right now to see if there was any violence. But I think if you're unhappy with a few things, it's time to start protesting. And there's a lot of things that need to be changed, and you need a completely different mindset to be able to design that change. And I'm not saying change, I'm not saying the mindset change, because the mindset doesn't really realize what that is doing. And big business has cost-effective rules, which means it's okay to, some must die so some can profit. I'd like to see some changes within the Gulf oil. There's a lot of people going to be extremely sick. I understand that the economy is crashing, and it's like you can't shut down all of your economic system, so you got to keep money flowing in business in a way that you know damn well is going to kill everybody. But yet the pharmaceutical world and doctors and, the biggest problem you got, healthcare, is going to increase the level of jobs, but no way of paying for it. So it's things like that. You cannot afford to fight any wars. How much does one bomb cost? Like, you need to start looking at your own country and how much poverty is there, and instead of building bombs, because you are the enemy. And for the most part, the reason why America has been the biggest enemy is because it's been trying to influence and control all government systems through its economic system. They're the land of the rich, so they're the ones that are dominating other societies, other countries, creating third world countries so that people will work for next to nothing to build your stuff. So in the meantime, all your stuff is being built by the slaves outside your country, so the people within your country have no jobs left. And oil has been suppressing an awful lot of technology. That would be good. We don't know how to run an economic system so that everything's done right. The only way we know how to profit is by doing everything that's wrong. We know for a fact that, you know, you get a war, destroy a place, a lot of billionaires get rich off of rebuilding what they just destroyed. But now it's time to stop destroying, because the entire planet needs a hell of a lot of healing. And, you know, they're saying that they're funding new systems. Prove it. Let's not see some of these big CEOs get more money funneled through. This is another bailout. We're going to give you, the CEOs, all this money to come up with a good way to learn how to censor people and have them not even know what was done to them. You know, so that I, the biased one that will always win because I'm the lawyer that knows how to beat the system, a system I know I will never change because it happens to make me, the criminal, always the winner. So, you know, here is a peaceful protest I'm inviting other people to get involved in. Is I have some core challenges. I hear that she's taking on the challenge of peaceful protest, that she wants to listen. So if anything I'm saying is sort of relevant to something you were saying, that you would like Hillary Clinton to kind of sort of say, hey, are you guilty of not following your own advice? And if you are, maybe step down and let's get somebody that does follow their own advice. You know, Obama is not saying what he promised. You know, he's another guy that, you know, and that friggin' war, you can't afford it. And, you know, stop going after WikiLeaks. That is a major bet. You can't get yourself around that one. Disinformation was well worth breaking that law, that it was stolen property, when you can see Albright saying killing, 500,000 children was worth it. Like, let's compare which laws were actually more beneficial to the planet. Killing that many people, I question what morals you have that suggests stealing documents that you're killing that many people wasn't worth breaking that law. And if we're going to be the smartest person in the room by being lawyers, I suggest your legal system is dead wrong and it's driving you insane because you're not seeing exactly what is more harmful. I mean, breaking one law was a lot more worth breaking the other, and killing any human life shows you're wrong because you're a killer. You can't get around that one. You're a killer, you're a killer, you're a killer. You don't know how to solve problems while you're trying to tell everybody, hey, here's the solution to how to solve a problem. If we follow you, we will go off that cliff and destroy the whole friggin' planet. So some people need to step down, but we'll have that challenge, that peaceful challenge, and then we'll take you up on the other challenge of, okay, protesting on the streets, and see if you can follow that advice as well, even though you're basically telling us then that if we did get on the streets, you would use violence because you are not a person of your word. So let's try the peaceful conversation and see if she's listening. By how many people are standing up and saying, hey, yeah, I would like this loud, and just post a comment and or post your own video attachment to this. And let's go through her little speech. She said,